Part 6. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 52. Wait, Zhang Sanfen hesitated for a moment, then stood up. I wonder if Master can tell me the whereabouts of Wuji's child. In the past, Ji Ziofu showed such love and care to Ji Ziofu, but now he can say without mercy that he has disabled her martial arts. For people in the world, having her martial arts disabled may be more uncomfortable than death. Zhang Sanfen thought in his heart that Lily was acting he was too strong, and he couldn't help but mourn in his heart. He was deeply afraid that the only bloodline left by his 5 disciples would die in the hands of Mija. At this moment, he no longer cared about his status as a master of his sect and began to persecute him. Although the original master's martial arts is not bad, there is still a big gap between him and a master like Zhang Sanfen. Especially when Lily has not fully exerted the potential of the original master's martial arts, it is impossible to be an enemy of Zhang Sanfen. At this time, Zhang Sanfen asked. She didn't know if there was any internal force in her voice. Her heart ached and a fishy smell came out of her throat. Lily frowned and straightened her back. Does Master Zhang think that I killed Zhang Wuji? As soon as Lily said this, everyone in Wudaim changed their expressions and wanted to surround her. Mo Shengu couldn't bear it anymore. Master, you really killed me, Wuji baby. Everyone knew the nature of extinction, and they would rather kill the evil heretics than let them go. At this moment, they had the worst plan in mind, and Zhang Sanfen was almost in tears. Whether you believe it or not, I didn't kill Zhang Wuji, and I didn't kill Ji Ziofu, the traitor. How could I kill Zhang Wuji again, who wanted to die? Juyan himself never disdained to lie and deceive, and everyone in Wudaim he was taught so well by Zhang Sanfen that he didn't even think about whether Lily would lie to others. He actually believed everyone. However, Zhang Sanfen was still a little worried in his heart. Then I wonder if Tai can tell me the last time she saw Wuji. Scenario. Lily couldn't help but laugh, with a murderous intent on her brows. Then why didn't Mr. Zhang make Zhang Qiushan reveal the whereabouts of the old thief Xiesun? The words made Zhang Sanfen blush. Even though he had lived for 100 years, he was speechless and embarrassed by Lily's words. Please, everyone, Zhang Wuji's matter is for the sake of Yin Lai Uxia. Let's forget it before. But if I meet again in the future, I will never forgive him lightly. His foster father Xiesun killed my biological eldest brother, a member of the Ming cult. I won't let you go. After Lily said this, regardless of the shocked expressions of everyone who heard this, she directly asked the disciples to see off the guests. Master, please be kind to me. Wuji promised my master that he would never join the Ming cult. 4 heroes. Zhang Songzi spoke anxiously, and then Lily sneered, there are no absolutes in the world. Today, 4 heroes. Zhang said it so bluntly. Damn it, I'm afraid it will be a joke if he slaps himself in the mouth someday. In the future, Zhang Wuji became the leader of the Ming cult, and the words he promised Zhang Sanfen in the past naturally turned out to be a bunch of bullshit. With the halo of being the protagonist, Zhang Sanfen naturally forgave him in the end. Zhang Wuji's vow to join the Ming cult was naturally a bunch of empty talk. My son, Wuji, is the son of my 5th brother. He will never make false claims. Although he is young, he is also true to his word. As the head of the Imei sect, Master Tai, why should he care about me like Wuji? Wudaing Song Yuanqiao, one of the 7 heroes, frowned slightly and glanced at Lily. Lily did not argue with him, but smiled slightly and said, whether it is true or not, we will know later. After saying this, Zhang Sanfen and others saw Lily. Reluctant to say anything, there was nothing he could do to deal with her, so they had to say goodbye, and everyone pulled the lost yin lighting away from Imei. As soon as these people left, Lily immediately closed her doors and left all the affairs of the sect in the hands of Ding Minjun and Jing Xian. She recorded Zhou's Hiruo as her nominal disciple, but did not teach her martial arts in person. Instead, he handed her over to Bai Jinyi to teach him. Although he later liked his youngest disciple very much, because Joshiruo forgot the vow he had made to her and still fell in love with Jongwuji, he felt a kind of hatred for Joshiruo in his heart. The idea is that Lily was not prepared to teach her anything, and naturally she was not prepared to give Joshiruo a high status and favor in Ime like in the plot. In the end, Joshiruo took it all for granted and betrayed her like Jiziofu. Lily has been in retreat for 5 years in the forbidden area of the Back Mountain. In these 5 years, she has integrated the martial arts of the original extinction, and also practiced the 9 Sun Sutra to the realm of Dachan. Her internal strength has the foundation before the extinction. Now, after having the 9 Yang manual, Beihi's internal strength is even stronger when practicing, even compared to Zhang Sanfen. Because of the 9 Yang manual, I am afraid that the two of them will only be in the middle of the battle. And if the plot did not change at this moment, it should have been the time for Jongwuji to come out, so she patiently practiced in the Ime sect for a few more days before finally waiting for the news that the 6 major sects were jointly attacking Guangmingding. Ime was among them, and the troops were divided into several groups. Beihi took the disciples of the sect and went out together without saying a word. Over the years, her prestige in the eyes of her disciples has not only not declined but has risen. She appears to be very mysterious. When everyone was staying in a small hotel at night, Joshiruo was sent to wait on her. She was indeed as described in the book. She was absolutely beautiful, with a look that I felt pity for, and when she looked at Lily's timid look, Lily nodded and signaled her to put down the kettle in her hand and go out, but she nodded with fear and quickly backed out. And just at this moment, another very ugly girl in the inn also came into the store carrying a man on her back. Lily's eyes fell on Joshiruo at this moment, and saw her looking thoughtfully at the unkempt man. And seeing that the boy whose face couldn't be seen clearly had a look of confusion on his face, he knew that fate had finally turned back to this moment. The two people still recognized each other, and they should have met each other at this moment. The children fell in love with each other. Ugly, Ding Minjun couldn't help but mutter after looking at the girl with a very ugly face in a low voice. Although her voice was small, it was clearly heard by people in the world. Everyone couldn't help laughing, even the Ime section. Some of them had expressions of sympathy on their faces. Unexpectedly, the girl glanced coldly towards the side, threw the man on her back, and slid towards the side like a ghost. Lily also wanted to teach Ding Minjun a lesson, so she deliberately sat still. Ah! Ding Minjun screamed. She was hit on the face, and it was like being bitten by insects. The unbearable feeling of pain and itching came up in her heart. She stretched out her hand to scratch her face until she scratched it. He felt bloodshot eyes in his hands twice before he came back to his senses. He looked at Lily with a frightened face and said, "Master. Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 53. Due to an accident at a young age, Yin Li followed Grandma Jinhua again, and her temperament was the most eccentric. Now she was unhappy because of Ding Minjun's words. She wanted to take action after teaching him a lesson. After Lily drank the tea, she turned the cup in her hand towards Yin Li, throw it over. At first, the cup seemed to be ordinary and slid towards Yin Li. A look of disdain appeared on her face. She was about to reach out to take it, but when she touched the cup, her expression changed drastically and she unconsciously slid back until after bumping into several tables and chairs, the adult Jongwuji's eyes changed and he quickly pretended to fall and caught her. Although Lily had only half successfully used her strength just now, Jongwuji was able to pick up Yin Li without showing signs of difficulty, which shows that he also had another adventure. Unexpectedly, he was hit by the poisonous palms of the two elders Xianming, and he had already torn off most of the 9 Yang divine art. Not to mention that he could survive and practice this martial arts. It was really because of the protagonist's aura, so invincible? Lily sneered and glanced at Jongwuji, "Look after your people and detoxify my apprentice, Otherwise don't blame the poor nun for being ruthless. Zhang Wuji had long recognized Lily, who was extremely fierce in his heart, and now his heart for a moment, although he didn't know why she appeared here, he knew that she was a powerful martial artist and the leader of the Ime section at the same time. He also recognized Joe's Hiruo, who was coaxing him to eat on the fishboat, although he didn't know how she joined Ime's disciple, but at this moment, he really couldn't bear to make her feel so rare. He felt pity in his heart, and he was really afraid of Lily's martial arts, so he took the initiative to apologize. If you have any offense, please. What are you asking for? Yin Li was furious, pointing at Zhang Wuji and scolding, you are afraid of Master Miu, but I am not. Miu's reputation is very loud in the world, and Yin Li naturally recognizes it, not to mention back then, Mija had fought against Grandma Jinhua, and she had witnessed it with her own eyes. However, she had a very weird personality, especially after practicing 1,000 spiders and 10,000 poisonous hands. When she saw Ding Minjun humiliating her, she knew that Master Mija was too powerful, but she still can't help but take action. Stop talking. If there is anything wrong with this girl, you have already taught her a lesson. Now that the teacher is holding back, just forget it. It was okay that Zhang Wuji did not dissuade him. When he tried to persuade Yin Li, he became even more furious and was about to speak. As he spoke, there was a burst of gloomy laughter from outside. At this time, a green shadow flashed by, and the shadow that could hardly be caught by the naked eye brought a gust of wind and blew past everyone, like a ghost. The expressions of many timid people in the inn had changed. Most of it. Jinxue screamed, and a sneer appeared at the corner of Lily's mouth. Pretend to be a ghost. In the plot, Jinxue was sucked to death by the green-winged Bat King Wei Yuxiao. Although he didn't know why Wei Yuxiao suddenly appeared here, but at this moment, she had no intention of watching her disciple die, so she waved the sword placed on the table, and heard a muffled grunt. A green-faced man with fangs, dressed in green clothes, vomited blood, fell to the ground, and was knocked away. A group of tables and chairs stared at Lily with shocked faces. Beihe's martial arts at this time is completely different from that of the past. Not to mention that Wei Yuxiao was not the opponent of the original owner. Now that she has practiced the 9-yang magic skill, Wei Yuxiao will no longer be able to do it as easily as in the plot. He captured Jingxian and sucked his blood to death, but he couldn't save his apprentice. Although her nature is very ruthless and she will never show mercy to those in the Ming cult, she is very defensive. As long as she is her disciple, she will fight to the end whether she likes it or not. In this regard, the original Extinction she had never treated her disciples badly, but her two favorite disciples had betrayed her to some extent. In fact, Lily sympathized with her very much after receiving the memory of Extinction. Exterminate old nun. Wei Yuxiao coughed twice, wiped the blood from his mouth, stared at Lily with evil eyes, and tried to stand up. Lily stared at Wei Yuxiao condescendingly, who in the Ming cult was a good person in the beginning. Take Xiesun for example, he killed innocent people indiscriminately. In the end, because of his poor life experience, everyone forgave him. Zhang Qiushan even wanted to keep his secret and save his life, but he didn't. After thinking about the victim's inner feelings, Xiesun's final fate was to escape into Buddhism. If all his sins could be washed away in this way, there would be no such thing as the death penalty in the world. Everyone can punish the traitors of the Ming cult. You bumped into my hand today, so you can't blame me. After Lily said this, she moved her fingers slightly, and there was a trace of struggle in her eyes, but she still said. Wei Yuxiao raised the topic, and there was a certain look of determination in her eyes. Unexpectedly, a clear voice said, "Master, wait a minute." When she said this, she saw an afterimage flashing past. This shadow, although his Qinggong was much inferior to Wei Yuxiao's, his internal strength was much deeper. When he snatched someone away, although Beihe had done such tasks several times, it was still his first time to kill someone, so he hesitated and was captured by Zhangwuji. People grabbed it. What on earth has this uncle done to offend master? Why don't we ask master to spare him? Why hurt his life? His character was as nosy as ever. Lily felt relieved, but her face darkened. I advise you not to meddle in other people's business, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Zhangwuji put down the dying Wei Yuxiao, and then offered his hand to Lily. For the sake of me, master, please forgive me. This old man once. This man is the green-winged bat king of the demon section. He makes a living by sucking human blood. Just now he tried to attack my disciple. I want to kill him. Why shouldn't I? If I don't take action, more lives will be destroyed in his hands in the future. Duo, I advise you to get out of the way quickly, otherwise I will take care of you too. As soon as Lily said these words, Zhou's Hiruo next to her was stunned, and subconsciously glanced at Jinxue, who was still in shock, thinking about her childhood. Zhangwuji, who I knew, also felt a little dissatisfied. Jinxue has always been kind to her. What's more, in Zhou's Hiruo's view, the master just wants to protect his apprentice. She does not receive the wholehearted love of Zhu as in the plot, so she does not feel that many things are natural and justified because of her identity. She was very proud of how she cared for her apprentice. Seeing Wei Yuxiao trying to kill her senior sister, and Zhangwuji interceding for such a person, Zhou's Hiruo's goodwill and joy dissipated a little, and she frowned slightly. Turn your face away. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 54. This. When Zhangwuji saw Zhou's Hiruo's other words, he couldn't help but feel a little guilty. He didn't expect that the Ming cult mentioned by his grandfather actually included people like Wei Yuxiao who were addicted to human blood. He was blocked by Lily for a moment and couldn't say anything. Speaking of which, although he is the protagonist, he has grown up on a desert island since he was a child and has not been in contact with people in a cave for many years. Therefore, he is somewhat lacking in interacting with people. He is not yet mature enough, so his eloquence and skills are not good. It was not good. Because of this, when he later met Xiaomin, he was blocked by Xiaomin at every turn and was speechless. Lily had done several missions, and in each mission, she lived several times as long as Zhangwuji. When he opened his mouth at this moment, naturally everyone felt that Zhangwuji was in the wrong. Some people were also filled with indignation when they heard that the person who was beaten by Lily was a member of the Ming cult and Wei Yuxiao, who loved to suck human blood. Wei Yuxiao was truly loyal to the Ming cult, but he didn't have a good impression of the people from the 6 major sections. He had killed many disciples of the various sections. Now that his identity was exposed, naturally everyone in the inn became distraught. He stood up with a long sword in his hand, looking fierce. Although the Ming cult has resisted the Mongolian Tatars in recent years, people's impression of them is that the people in the Ming cult act in extreme ways, especially those led by Xie. It is even more resentful. When Ming Jiao was introduced to China from Persia, their personalities were very different from those of the Chinese people. In addition, most people in Ming Jiao were people who went their own way. After entering Ming Jiao, they thought that everyone was a brother, so they were very united. As if someone has been brainwashed. Although he shouts about justice, sometimes he wants to do good things, but because he does things too viciously, he inevitably leaves a bad impression on others. What's more, the people of the Central Plains have always believed in people who are not our own race, and their minds must be different. The Ming sect came from Persia, and because it recruits talents in an eclectic way, regardless of whether they have a good or bad reputation in the world, as long as they are loyal, they will be accepted into the section. This will inevitably give the various sects in the Central Plains a sense of evil, especially after the Mingjiao emerged figures such as Xiesun and the Green-Winged Bat King, which made the Mingjiao's reputation demonized, and everyone hated them. When Xiesun snatched the dragon-slaying knife, he killed so many people and slaughtered the elites of countless sections. The various sects hated him to the core, and they naturally resented the Ming cult. Now that they saw him being beaten, the one who was injured was Wei Yuxiao, and he also wanted to steal the blood of a female disciple of the Imei section. Naturally, everyone thought that it was only natural for Lily to kill Wei Yuxiao. However, no one felt that Lily was going too far. On the contrary, they were all interested in Zhang Wuji when he was young. There was some dissatisfaction in my heart. Please forgive me, Master, please forgive me. At this point, Ming Jiao finally had a relationship with his adoptive father. Zhang Wuji really couldn't bear to see someone being killed in front of him, so he bit the bullet. He spoke to persuade. Lily looked at him and sneered, "Who are you? Are you qualified to teach me a lesson? Everyone can punish Ming cult thieves. You have repeatedly tried to stop them. Could it be that you have colluded with Ming cult?" Zhou's Hiruo heard clearly from the sidelines and moved her lips, but she did not speak for Zhang Wuji in front of Mija like in the plot. She lowered her head and only fiddled with the hem of her clothes without saying a word. Zhang Wuji felt a little disappointed when he saw her acting like this, but he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Young man is just a wild man from a mountain village. Naturally, he doesn't dare to teach Master Tai. I am willing to accept Master Tai's 3 palms. If I can accept it, please ask Master Tai let him go. The famous 3-palm incident finally happened. I didn't expect it to be so far in advance. In the plot, the extinction will agree to Zhang Wuji. It is naturally impossible for Lily to refuse to agree at this moment. She will let Zhang Wuji. By the way, he showed kindness to the Ming cult and joined the Ming cult, but Zhang Wuji never expected to gain fame and status so easily in this life. Thinking of this, Lily readily agreed. Although I don't know why Master Mimi, the leader of the Imei sect, agreed to compete with a commoner boy, Mimi's reputation is very loud in the world. When everyone saw that she was going to strike, they were very excited, so they hurriedly made an appointment. Green-winged Bat King Wei Yuxiao tugged on his large cloak, grinned, glared at Miju with some resentment, and then said to Zhang Wuji, "You don't have to fight with this old thief, you are not her opponent. If you die, you will die, and you will not be harmed." At this point, Zhang Wuji naturally had no reason to give up anymore. He laughed after hearing this. "Sir, please don't worry. Although I am a young man, I still know a few tricks of the crop. I think I can save my husband's life." He was originally speaking modestly, but due to his lack of worldly sophistication, now he is making people laugh. The people in the world couldn't help but sneered and glanced at him. Ding Minjun had the most impatient temper. In addition, she had just been retaliated by Yin Li after she had laughed at Yin Li. Now her face was burning with pain. The woman originally valued her appearance. Although she was not beautiful, but she didn't like being disfigured, so she hated Zhang Wuji to the core. When she heard him say this, she screamed, "Who are you? You are so arrogant that you dare to challenge my master just because you think you know a few skills. You are just a remnant of the demon section. Say it again, do you believe that I will sneak into your Imei, scratch your face, and gouge your eyes?" Wei Yuxiao covered his chest and stared at Ding Minjun suspiciously. "My martial arts is not as good as that of the old thief Ni, but it's not difficult for me to harm you with my Qinggong." Lily frowned, seeing Ding Minjun's frightened look. "Let's talk about it if you can survive today." As soon as she said this, everyone fell silent, and the people of the Imei faction naturally looked proud. Many people in the rivers and lakes also liked to watch the excitement. Zhang Wuji recalled the famous saying in the Nine Sun Sutra, "He is strong, let him be strong, the breeze blows on the hills, he is allowed to cross, and the bright moon shines on the river. He is cruel to himself, but he is evil to himself, and I am very angry. He was still forced into the cave at the foot of Mount Hua by Zhu Zhuzhen's father, Zhu Changling, as in the plot, and he also found a small half of Lily's remaining scriptures. Coincidentally, he had already learned 3 lessons from Zhang Sanfen. 1/3 of the 9 Yang manual, and the small half that Lily left happened to make up for the part that he didn't know, and he also learned some more. Although he didn't know the remaining scriptures, he is talented and intelligent, and his martial arts talent is extremely high, so he half-exploredly practiced the 9 Yang manual. The cold poison was naturally gone. Although the manual was not as proficient as in the plot, it was not bad at all. If compared with the original Annihilation, although it may not be a sure win over her, it is certain that the two are equally matched. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan Erwr. Chapter 55. But Lily has completely changed the plot in this life. She has practiced the 9 Yang manual to the extreme, and her internal strength has become much deeper. Because of the mystery of the 9 Yang manual, she will be half prepared when she starts practicing martial arts again. It will be early, not comparable to the extermination of the past. Even someone like Zhang Sanfen, who has lived for nearly 2 decades, is not incapable of her being able to fight. Zhang Wuji, who has not fully practiced the 9 Yang manual, is naturally no match for her. Therefore, there was no suspense. Zhang Wuji originally thought that he had understood the secrets of the 9 Yang manual. Even if he couldn't resist it, he would at least be fine. Unexpectedly, Mija's seemingly ordinary palm slap when he came over, he was still shocked by the feeling like a mountain collapsing. Zhang Wuji was not as powerful as he thought. Lily, who also practiced the 9 Yang manual, severely injured him with one palm. Even if the muscles and veins are not completely severed, the difference is not much different. He spurted out a mouthful of blood, and his body was hit backwards like a kite with a broken string. Until he crashed into the inn, no sound was heard for a long time. Master. Although Joshiruo didn't like Zhang Wuji's protection of people in the demon sect before, the two had known each other since they were young. She had a very subtle feeling for Zhang Wuji. Now she didn't know whether he was alive or dead, and she didn't know whether he was alive or dead. When she bumped into something, she became a little anxious. She called Lily, but saw that Lily ignored her at all. Joshiruo became a little anxious. Just when she was about to speak, she saw a group of figures walking towards her in the distance. Although it was getting late now, martial arts practitioners have extremely good eyesight. She could see clearly that people from the Wudang sect were coming. Joshiruo felt happy and ignored her usual fear of extinction. I thought that I had heard about the master's temper and character from the senior sisters, and thought that she knew Lily well enough, so she said loudly, "Master is really good at fighting. Zhang Wuji is so young, and he overestimates his ability and wants to argue with the master. It's really..." Before she finished speaking, Lily slapped her face without thinking. Although she did not use any internal force in this slap, the delicate and weak girl was slapped in front of everyone. Being slapped on the face is also an extremely humiliating thing. After all, Joshiruo is still young. After being beaten, he was stunned and subconsciously covered his face. Seeing the surprised expressions on the faces of the senior sisters and the sympathetic looks on some people's faces, tears started to flow in his eyes. His eyes twitched. "I need you to talk about my matter? If you want to save people, you don't have to worry about it in front of me. If you continue to cheat like this in the future, the Ime sect doesn't like people like you." Lily frowned and shouted loudly. Joshiruo's face turned red. Ever since she joined the Ime sect, she has been beautiful and pitiful in appearance. Everyone except Ding Minjun is willing to take care of her and likes her. After losing her father, she has been cared for by the senior sisters of the Ime section as a grown-up. This was the first time she was beaten and scolded like this. She felt very aggrieved and a little bit more afraid of Lily. She held back her tears and whispered. Yes. Everyone in Wudan had heard the movement here clearly. The leader was Song Yuanqiao, who was leading a group of junior brothers and Wudan disciples towards this side. They heard Wuji's reputation from a distance, and they knew the wish of their master Zhang Sanfan. It was Zhang Wuji. Everyone had been worried about whether Wuji's child was alive or dead. Now that they finally heard his movements, everyone in Wudan couldn't help but look at each other and strode over in this direction with great joy. Have Master Tai met me, Wuji? Song Yuanqiao asked anxiously as he raised his hand towards Lily. Naturally, he also saw the dilapidated Yin and Wei Yuxiao, who was coughing up blood. After hearing this, Yin Libian couldn't help but pointed at Lily angrily and said. What Zhang Wuji? He is Zheng Anyu. He was punched into the inn by this old thief, and he still doesn't know what happened to him now. Upon hearing this, the 7 heroes of Wudan hurriedly entered the inn. Yin Lighting walked at the end, not very eagerly. When he passed by Lily, he cupped his hands towards Lily and whispered, Long time no see, master. After not seeing him for several years, he looked much gloomier. He no longer looked as innocent as before. There was a bit of melancholy between his eyebrows, and he looked very old. The 6 heroes of Yin. I came here to kill Yang Xiao, and I asked my master to help me. Yin Lighting gritted his teeth, and his voice couldn't help but raise a little higher when talking about Yang Xiao. He has not dared to go down the mountain easily for fear of being laughed at. Ji Xiaofu had married into Guangmingding 2 years ago. Although she did not entertain her martial arts colleagues, the news had already spread. No one knew that Ji Xiaofu was Yin Lighting's fiancée before. Now someone heard about it? As he spoke, a look of sympathy appeared on his face. Lily nodded. Just when she almost beat Zhang Wuji to death, her heart also became cruel. These were all tasks. She didn't care whether they were living people or not. She wanted to live and didn't want the task to fail. If she wanted to, if she continues to live, others will naturally die. She doesn't want to be so cruel, but if it is to survive, she is willing to do anything. Yang Xiao was the person she hated the most in her original memory. Apart from having to kill Xie Sun, the only person she resented the most was Yang Xiao. Yin Lighting didn't need to say more, she would definitely kill Yang Xiao and fulfill her wish of extinction. Thank you, Master, for your help. After receiving Lily's approval, Yin Lighting showed a look of relief on his face, and cupped his hands at Lily. Before he could speak, Song Yuanqiao and others on the other end had already called out in surprise, the 6th brother is Wuji, come here quickly, he is your 5th brother's son, Wuji. Yin Lighting stood motionless. No matter how honest a person is, there will be times when he is angry. No one could see the situation in front of him. What's more, he had already heard Wei Yuxiao's name before, and looked at Yin Li and Wei Yuxiao who were speaking. Together, the onlookers quickly told each other what had happened. Yin Lighting knew that Zhang Wuji was a person who protected the Ming cult, and felt very uncomfortable. Lily buried it in his heart 5 years ago. The seeds now begin to take root and sprout. The Wudan people quickly took out Zhang Wuji, who was vomiting blood and fainting. Song Yuanqiao anxiously asked Zhang Wuji to sit down cross-legged. While asking his brothers to perform exercises to heal his injuries, when he saw Lily and Yin Lighting standing beside him, he had just heard what Yin Li said and knew that Zhang Wuji was injured by Lily. Now he saw that his injury was very serious and his life was in danger. Song Yuanqiao was furious in his heart, staring and said, Master Tai is a monk and should be compassionate. Why did he attack so harshly and almost hurt my child Wuji's life? Yin Li sighed and was about to speak when Wei Yuxiao said in a conspiratorial tone, Old thief Ni has killed countless people, so what does it matter if he kills a few more teenagers? Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 56. Shameless. Just when Ding Minjun was about to speak, Lily glanced at her. Shut up. Although Ding Minjun was arrogant, he still had the remaining power of extinction. Now that she opened her mouth, she didn't dare to say more. She was so busy. After closing her mouth, Lily looked at Song Yuanqiao and sneered, I don't know who swore to me in Ime that Zhang Wuji would never join the Ming cult. Not to mention that I didn't know that he was Zhang Wuji before that. Knowing that he is Zhang Wuji, I'm afraid I will strike harder. That's right, the Huang cowboy doesn't know the heights of the world, and takes the initiative to challenge the master. In order to save a demon like Wei Yuxiao, he deserves to be beaten to death. The person who had been standing in the crowd for a long time couldn't help but speak, and pointed at Wudain. Everyone showed contempt. I thought Wudain was a well-known and upright section. How amazing it is. It was originally a place where filth and evil were hidden, but it was just a place for officials to protect each other. You also used the name of wiping out the Ming Qiao. Who knew you Wudain was? It's not that he colluded with the Ming cult and deliberately wanted to lead us into being deceived. As soon as the man finished speaking, people started to boo him one after another. That's right, Wudain uses its power to bully others. I used to think you were nice, but now it seems like it's nothing more than that. Although Song Yuanqiao is old and has a very stable temperament, he has never been misunderstood like this before in his life. He was so angry that his chest was tight and his face was very ugly. Yin Lighting remained silent and did not make a sound, but it was obvious that Zhang Wuji's expression was not gentle, so Zhang Zisong said, no matter how dissatisfied you are, can you wait until my brother revives Wuji? Maybe he is just eager to save people. After he said this, most of the people in the inn were decent people. Naturally, they couldn't say anything to stop them from saving people at this moment, so everyone fell silent. Sixth brother, sit down quickly and let Wuji do some exercises to heal his injuries, Song Yuanqiao ordered, lifting up the hem of his clothes and sitting down. Yin Lighting stood still. Song Yuanqiao was stunned, and then shouted, Sixth brother, what are you doing? Yin Lighting and Mo Shengu were brought up by Song Yuanqiao since they were young. Even martial arts were taught by him. The relationship between the two brothers is very deep. If anyone else asked, Yin Lighting would probably refute a few words. See, when Song Yuanqiao got angry, Yin Lighting hesitated for a moment, then sat down and reluctantly put his hand on Zhang Wuji's back. Zhang Wuji was seriously injured. He himself also practiced the Nine Yang Manual, and it was a very complete Nine Yang Manual. It was not like Zhang Wuji, who had only practiced most of it and only guessed at the remaining half, could compare with this. The palm was struck out, and most of Zhang Wuji's body was destroyed. In addition to his chest bones being almost completely shattered, his tendons were also seriously injured. At this moment, even if the 5 heroes of Wudain sat down to heal his injuries, half an hour passed. Zhang Wuji's face was still as pale as gold paper, and he couldn't breathe at all. The inn was almost completely destroyed. Lily asked people to pay for the silver. Everyone simply lit a fire and sat down on the spot. Wei Yuxiao was tied up like a rice dumpling and thrown aside, while Yin Li sat next to Wudain. The atmosphere was very embarrassing and weird. Master. Zhou's Hiruo came over with her head lowered. Seeing that Lily had no intention of paying attention to her, her knees suddenly softened and she knelt down. Master, I realize that I was wrong. Please forgive me. Ime, don't need a rip-off like you. I didn't teach you martial arts, so I won't abolish your martial arts. Just go where you came from. Lily didn't even open her eyes, and Zhou's Hiruo burst into tears. Then she rolled down the river. She had no father or mother. Her father had been killed by UN soldiers when Zhang Wuji boarded the ship. Now she was alone. Where else could she go except Ime? The sky was so big that she seemed to have nowhere to go. Zhou's Hiruo was really scared now. She was really afraid that Bei would drive her out of Ime, so she could only stare pitifully at Bei Jinyi, Jinxue, and the others. Jinxue had she was almost caught by Wei Yuxiao and had her blood sucked. At this moment, she was still frightened. She saw that Lily was going to vent her anger for her, but Zhang Wuji stood up for Wei Yuxiao instead. And the junior sister Zhou's Hiruo, whom she had always taken care of, was still on Zhang Wuji's side. She was angry in her heart. Even the weakest person has a temper. Now seeing Zhou's Hiruo looking at her, she sneered and looked away. Tears rolled out of Zhou's Hiruo's eyes. On the contrary, Bei Jinyi has been taking care of this little junior sister under her teacher's orders. She also saw that this little junior sister was so sensible and considerate that she liked her. The relationship between the two has always been deep, and she was a soft-hearted and kind-hearted person, so she couldn't help but speak out. Begging for mercy, master, junior sister, she didn't mean it. When she became a disciple of Ime, she had a relationship with Zhang Wuji. Zhou's Hiruo had always been close to her, and she had mentioned this matter to her accidentally. Lily had originally she didn't really mean to drive Zhou's Hiruo away, but she was not ready to let Zhou's Hiruo go easily at the moment. Zhang Wuji is destined to be the one to fall in love with Zhao Min. He himself has said that he respects and admires Zhou's Hiruo, but he is the only one who truly likes Zhao Min in order to prevent Zhou's Hiruo from being extinct in the future due to emotional difficulties. Forgetting her teachings, she decided to cut off this bad relationship before the relationship started, so that Zhou's Hiruo would know that she was afraid, and would actively shy away from this relationship, so as not to cause a series of things again. If you are serious about talking to her, then get out of Ime. Lily glanced at Bei Jinyi, who was so frightened that she trembled slightly, and looked at Zhou's Hiruo with a helpless look. The atmosphere suddenly froze. After one night, Zhang Wuji naturally woke up with the full rescue of the 5 Wudan people. Everyone recognized each other. After a while, the sky became bright, and the people from the Ming cult rushed over again. Naturally, they had a good fight with the Ime faction, and among those who came over was the white-browed eagle King Yin Tianzheng. He and Zhang Wuji knew each other. Zhang Wuji was naturally not in a good position to side with Wudan, and because of Zhang Wuji, everyone in Wudan was also not in a good position. When the 6 major factions attacked Guangmingding again, Wudan stood by and watched in the end, which made Wudan extremely infamous. Lily became famous in this battle. She was very powerful in martial arts. In addition to killing Wei Yuxiao when they attacked Guangmingding, Buddha monk and others were also killed by her Yaishan sword. When they entered Guangmingding, Yang Xiao and others were already sitting in the lobby. The Mingjiao had been destroyed today, and almost half of the troops under each banner were dead or injured. This time, no Zhang Wuji could come out to save the situation. During the battle, there were almost no 2 soldiers under Lily's sword. Regarding the matter of uniting enemies, everyone had a vague intention of taking her as the leader. The tip of her sword was still dripping with blood. Ji Xiaofo had not been seen for several years and she had aged much. Her temples were almost all gray and wrinkles had appeared on her cheeks. When she saw Lily, her tears suddenly came down. I always forgot to explain, why have I updated so late recently? In addition to having to review my health, the most important thing is that my father is turning 60. I need to book a banquet for him and receive the relatives who come to celebrate. I was so busy that I was like an escort. I had to play, laugh, eat, and drink with me, and at the same time entertain these ancestors. For a person like me who has fallen into the trap, I might as well be diligent. It's terrible. Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 57. Yang Xiao has a sexual nature, and the reason why Ji Ziofa was not shot to death by Lily this time is not only because Yin Lighting has changed a lot and is no longer affectionate towards her, but even Yang Xiao has not changed as he did in the plot. She did not die, so her love turned into a joke. Ji Ziofa became a famous shameless slut in the world. After betraying her fiancé, although some people secretly laughed at Yin Lighting for wearing a cuckold. But in this kind of thing, women are more hurt. And she married Yang Xiao. Because she didn't die, Yang Xiao didn't treat her as highly as he did after he was burdened with psychological baggage. His nature was hard to change, and at first Ji Ziofa would rather be exterminated for him. He was moved by his martial arts skills, and he was excited to see her give birth to a daughter for him. But as time went by, for a man with a sexual nature, if a woman dies, she will become a cinnabar mole in his heart, which will naturally be forever. It is unforgettable, and I have suffered for half my life because of this relationship. But the prerequisite is that the woman dies and is worthy of being remembered by this man forever. The current situation is that Ji Ziofu is not dead, she has become the mosquito blood in Yang Xiao's eyes. How can she care so much? It didn't take long for him to continue having sex happily. Ji Ziofu was shocked and cried at first, but later she started crying and fussing. Yang Xiao originally thought it was quite new to see her crying, but as time went by, he couldn't bear it anymore. I don't like Ji Ziofu. No matter how good the two couples are together, there may still be friction. Even the teeth and tongues sometimes fight. The two of them have different backgrounds and many opinions. I don't know which one it is. Back then, in order to anger Ji Ziofu, Yang Xiao deliberately embarrassed Ji Ziofu in other concubines. Not to mention that Ji Ziofu was all alone because of Yang Xiao, and even her martial arts had been abolished by Beihe. The Ji family refused to recognize her as a girl anymore, and her martial arts colleagues laughed at her extremely, not to mention that there were many figures in the Ming sect, all of whom were behind the scenes. He didn't respect her and thought her behavior was frivolous. It was probably because in other people's eyes that she, a well-known and upright disciple, would marry Yang Xiao. Many people thought that she had ulterior motives, especially Yang Xiao's concubine. Many people looked down upon her, so one can easily imagine the pain Ji Ziofu suffered over the years. She lost her martial arts skills and was bullied everywhere. As she aged, her appearance gradually disappeared. The most indispensable thing in the world was young and beautiful girls. I don't know when she had a quarrel with Yang Xiao. The two started a cold war. Until now. Master. Ji Ziofa looked at Lily with tears in her eyes, and knelt down to her. Please, Master, please forgive me. At first, the disciple was unfilial and disobeyed the master's orders. Now the disciple realizes that he was wrong, she said. She regrets that she didn't listen to Chu Mi's words, not to mention that good and evil are not mutually exclusive. The education she received since she was a child is completely different from that of Yang Xiao. When the two did not get along day and night before, they only talked about feelings. After she gave birth to her daughter, she and Yang Xiao had not seen each other for many years, and the distance created a beauty. Naturally, the relationship is wonderful in every way, and they really live together. The two of them have nothing in common. After the freshness of love has passed, all kinds of conflicts emerge, and Ji Ziofa really regrets it. When she was young, she only thought that love was the most important thing. After all these years, she realized that for herself, in addition to feelings, there were also family and friendships, etc., which she could not let go of. Miss Ji, I don't dare to be called master. I asked you about your choice at the beginning. Now, no matter whether you regret it or not, you can't go back to this path. Lily accepted the plot and naturally knew that extinction was deeply important to this apprentice. She hated her for being disobedient and having an affair with Yang Xiao. Although she saw Ji Ziofa crying pitifully, she had no intention of being moved at all. On the contrary, it was Yang Xiao. Although he was passionate by nature, Ji Ziofu still didn't like him. Similarly, this was the first woman he had ever truly had feelings for. Although the two of them had been very noisy in the past, at that time he was just angry with Ziofu. Now he was so angry that Ziofu was so old. The anger in his heart after most of it was gone, he saw the 6 major factions attacking Guangmingding again. No matter how dissatisfied Yang Xiao was with Ji Ziofu in the past, seeing her cry now, he couldn't help but feel a little pity for her. What happened in the first place was that I couldn't live up to her. All the mistakes she made were all my fault. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Please consider the relationship between master and disciple and spare Ziofu. Once I don't know if it was because she had heard too many sweet words from Yang Xiao over the years when she was with Yang Xiao. When Ji Ziofu heard this, she was not moved at all, she just knelt on the ground and shed tears. Yin Lighting sneered from the side, "You are rushing to die first. Don't worry, no one from your demon sect can escape, so why should we fight for precedence?" Sixth brother, Song Yuanqiao, was a man with a mellow personality. Naturally, he couldn't bear to hear Yin Lighting's harsh tone and scolded him. Next to him, Zhang Wuji's face turned pale. He saw his gray-haired grandfather and uncle among them. He felt uncomfortable at the moment and hurriedly said, "I also beg Uncle Six for his life. Uncle Yang is at fault. My nephew should apologize to you on his behalf." Before Zhang Wuji could finish his words, the anger that Yin Lighting had suppressed for many years finally burst out. "Zhang Wuji, who is your uncle? Your elbows always turn outwards." Sixth brother. Song Yuanqiao and Zhang Zisong were shocked when they heard Yin Lighting's words and hurriedly called him out, but Zhang Wuji's face turned red and he said softly, "The palms of the hands are always fleshy, and my mother was the same at the beginning. Forget about your mother. If it hadn't been for your mother, my fifth brother wouldn't have ended up like that." Yin Lighting was in a state of rage at the moment and spoke unscrupulously, making Zhang Wuji's face turn pale. Among them, Yin Tianzheng and the other two heard what the Wudang people said, and their eyes showed surprise. Could it be that this is Wuji? Due to Beihe's interference, Zhang Wuji did not appear as unexpectedly as in the plot, nor did he make a stunning appearance. At this time, Yin Tianzheng and his son thought that they would be very happy to see their grandson before they died, but they were not. There was no overjoyed feeling like when Zhang Wuji came forward for Yin Tianzheng later. The people of the 6 major sects did not give them time to reminisce. After asking about Lily's consciousness, in addition to killing Yang Xiao, the remaining Mingjiao people directly abolished him. Just go to martial arts. The matter was settled. When everyone went down to Guangmingding, they met the people sent by Zhao Min again. However, this time with Lily, Zhao Min's plan was naturally not realized. Without the 6 major sects, everyone was imprisoned on top. What happened in Du, without Zhang Wuji later becoming the leader of the Ming cult, it would be impossible for the people of the Ming cult to save the people of the 6 major sects, thus making everyone in the martial arts owe a favor to the 6 major sects. After this battle, Beihe's reputation was greatly improved. She went to the capital of the Yuan dynasty and sneaked into Zhao Min's mansion. After killing Fan Yao, the right envoy of the Ming dynasty, she returned to Yimei. During the period, her martial arts colleagues gathered in the Yimei sect, led by Beihe. After arriving at Binghuo Island, Chang Kun was killed in front of Xiesun. Similarly, Xiesun also died under the exterminating Yishan sword. Because Lily's reputation was different now, the dragon-slaying knife was naturally handed over to her for safekeeping. After the swords crossed, she took out the 9 yin manual and devoted herself to studying martial arts. Yimei handed it to Zhou Hiruo according to the plot. I don't know if Zhang Wuji is not as outstanding as in the plot, so she doesn't have much love for Zhang Wuji later. After Lily's deliberate attack, she has grown up now. It can be said that Zhou Hiruo, who has no emotional troubles, is the most suitable palm for Yimei. Doorman. In this way, the wish of extinction is fulfilled, and the plot is put back on track. A few years later, there was a girl named Yang Bui who went to the Ime sect to provoke Lily, but she had devoted herself to practicing martial arts. Yang Bui was later taught a lesson by Jose Hiruo and disappeared. Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan Erwr. Chapter 58. This time Lily lived a particularly long life because she practiced martial arts. I don't know why. Except for the first time she returned to the space early in the father-daughter story, the men in the space every time thereafter let her live until the end of her life. This time she lived for nearly 200 years. When she returned to the space and saw the familiar starry sky, Lily was stunned for a while, and it took a long time to react. Long time no see. The handsome man appeared in front of Lily again. He was still wearing the same brocade robe and jade crown, and his figure looked much more solid. When he saw Lily, he nodded slightly, with the jade crown hanging down on his head. The two jade beads swayed slightly along with his movements. Lily pursed her lips and smiled. Several lifetimes of life had tempered her temperament. Now when she saw the man appearing, she didn't ask why, but she also smiled and said, "Thanks for taking care of me." The man didn't mean to say any more. He waved his hand and Lily's information appeared next to him again. Gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 51, out of 100. Appearance, 60, out of 100. Physical strength, 58, 100 full points. Force, 11, out of 100 points. Skills, 9 Yang Manual, 9 Yin Manual. Specialties, none. Charisma, 21, out of 100. Compared with Xiaoyao Jianghu who did the difficult task for the first time, the attribute values added this time are not much, but you can see that the 9 Yang Manual and the 9 Yin Manual that you have learned have appeared in the column of your skills. At this time, Lily couldn't help but feel a burst of excitement in her heart. She smiled with satisfaction. To be honest, this time in Yishin Slaying Dragon Chronicles, it was equivalent to the man giving her extra care. Because she knew the reasons for the original plot, she could be in the first place. It was during this time that she obtained the 9 Yang Manual. Because she learned this martial art, she was able to succeed so smoothly later on, and she completed the task with almost no setbacks. Being able to obtain the 9 Yang Manual and the 9 Yin Manual, she can still learn them when she enters the mission again. Lily is already very satisfied. "Thank you for the opportunity and care you gave me." Lily stood up and saluted the phantom. A slight smile appeared on the corner of the man's mouth. He had a frosty face, and a pair of slender eyes stared at his sharp features. His face originally looked very cold, but now his thin lips only raised a very small fine line, but it seemed to melt his perfect facial features, like the first melting of ice and snow, instantly letting people enter various plots and watch. Lily, who had seen many handsome men and beautiful women, was stunned. "You make me very satisfied." There seemed to be a hint of popularity in his voice this time. He no longer seemed cold and distant like before. He looked at Lily with a smile and said, "So I am going to give you another preferential treatment." After saying this, the man asked again, "I'm going to give you 2 points, where do you want to add them?" She just said a word of thanks casually, but this man actually wanted to give her 2 points at once. Lily had also done a lot of tasks, and knew how difficult it was to add this attribute point. At this moment, the man was so generous, and in her heart feeling flattered, he quickly said, "I want to add intelligence in addition to force." Intelligence is lower than several other attributes. The mysterious man smiled slightly. Okay. As soon as he finished speaking, the information in the starry sky changed to gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 53, out of 100. Appearance, 60, out of 100. Physical strength, 58, 100 full points. Force, 11, out of 100 points. Skills, 9 Yang Manual, 9 Yin Manual. Specialties, none. Charisma, 21, out of 100. Seeing that her intelligence had increased by 2 points, Lily smiled with satisfaction. So far, her mission has not failed. The higher her attribute value rises, the more secure she feels. Therefore, she nodded to this mysterious man, "I want to go on to the next mission." As soon as she finished speaking, the extremely handsome man waved his broad sleeves. It was obvious that he seemed like a shadow, but at this moment Lily seemed to be able to feel the strong wind brought by his sleeves. He flew out involuntarily and lightly. After a while, the world was spinning. When she turned around and woke up, there was a panicked male voice next to her calling, "Ahi, are you okay?" Lily shook her head instinctively, and was about to speak, but waves of nausea came over her. She turned around and lay on the ground and vomited until she was so dizzy that she almost vomited out her bile. Only then did she feel better. Many. "Ahi, I'm sorry, it's all my fault." "Don't tell me, uncle, that it's my fault, okay," a delicate female voice cried, and the male voice who was in the stage of changing her voice just now also advised her, "Junior sister manner, it's not intentional, hey, don't bully others too much." As soon as she finished speaking, a lot of stories came to Lily's mind. She felt someone lifted her body up and threw it somewhere. But at this moment, she had no time to argue with these people. Instead, she started to suppress her thoughts. As the swelling ached, I began to take in the plot. Originally, she thought that after she learned the 9 Yang Manual and the 9 Yin Manual, her tasks would be much smoother, but the principle that there is no such thing as a free lunch still applies everywhere. This time she entered into more than just martial arts. Instead of learning about the world, we entered a world of gods and ghosts. Different from the world of monks and monsters before, this world also has monsters and demons. Naturally, the two religions of Buddhism and Taoism that subjugate and eliminate demons have arisen with it. And this time He Bai happened to be Tao Bai He, the only daughter of Tao Rangxing, the head of a small magic sect under mission. Tao Bai He was only 4 years old at this time. Tao Rangxing married his wife Ning, but he only had one daughter. Because the mission faction could not give it to his daughter in the future, it was a pity that Tao Rangxing had been married to Ning for many years and had not given birth to a daughter. There has been no movement in her daughter's belly since then. More than 2 years ago, Tao Rangxing had no choice but to pick up an orphan from the foot of the mountain and go up the mountain, intending to train him as his son-in-law and pass on his mantle to him. The child that Tao Rangxing brought back was talented and intelligent, and had fine bones. Tao Bai He had been thin since he was a child, and had congenital turbidity in his body. Therefore, he was not suitable for practicing mission shu. Tao Rangxing finally gave up on his daughter. Focusing on his apprentice wholeheartedly, he taught all his life experiences to his apprentice Mo Shaokai. He originally hoped that he would take charge of mission in the future, carry forward his legacy, and treat his daughter well. Mo Shaokai has always wanted him to take charge of mission. He learned very well. He grew up in poverty, so his family had no choice but to sell him. However, he was not willing to be a slave, so he escaped. When he was about to starve to death, Tao Rangxing rescued him and taught him how to do this. Mo Shaokai was naturally overjoyed by Tao Rangxing's magical skills. Like a thirsty man in the desert, he began to learn various Taoist skills crazily, and soon became the proud son-in-law of riding a dragon in Tao Rangxing's eyes. Something delayed me today. I'm sorry everyone is late. This book will be on the shelves on the 1st. I will try my best to update it twice in the first week, dear friends. However, in the first month, I will try to get 15 fan tickets for extra updates. Girls, if you have any fan tickets, I would like to. If you want to wave a little whip to urge me to update more, you can stay. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan Erwr. Chapter 59. Tao Rangxing had asked him about the marriage between Mo Shaokai and Tao Beihe since he came up the mountain. Mo Shaokai was naturally very happy when he got such an opportunity, and he agreed without hesitation. He had a completely different view on marrying Tao Beihe from the beginning to the end. He began to get used to living a hard life. After coming to Mission, he was deeply afraid that Tao Rangxing would no longer want him and would kick him out and let him go back to his previous life of wandering. Therefore, he had no feelings for Tao Beihe, his fiancée, who was 5 years younger than him. He had always taken good care of him and used all kinds of means to coax Lily into leaving him. Only then did he feel relieved. But in the end, he felt that relying on others was too unreliable. For someone who had suffered so much for Mo Shaokai, nothing can make him feel safer than holding it tightly in his hands. Because of this, when he coaxed Lily to trust him wholeheartedly, he devoted himself to practicing Taoism. And when Tao Lily was infatuated with Mo Shaokai, when she was 8 years old, Mission, the daughter of a distant relative of Shang Tao Beihe's mother, Ning, was sent to the mountains because of her frail health. Unlike Tao Beihe, who grew up in the mountains and was dark, thin, and strong, Huang Man'er was born in a wealthy family in the south of the Yangtze River. Although her family was not wealthy, it was still quite well-to-do. The family valued her as a weak daughter very much. Huang Man'er was fair and cute. When compared with the dark and thin Tao Beihe, Mo Shaokai immediately fell in love with this pampered young lady. Because of his background, Mo Shaokai was particularly arrogant due to his low self-esteem. In front of Tao Beihe, he had a sense of superiority mixed with nervousness and fear. He was deeply afraid that one day Tao Beihe would no longer like him, and Tao Rangxing would. He drove him down the mountain, and this feeling of nervousness and fear gradually disappeared as Mo Shaokai himself was often praised by Tao Rangxing. When he didn't see Huang Suner, he treated Tao Beihe with a bit of contempt. But after seeing Huang Man'er, Mo Shaokai felt that he wanted to conquer this young lady, and felt that only such a girl could be worthy of him. Now that he is 14, he has already known about the affairs between men and women. Recently, while Tao Rangxing was playing tricks on Lily, he has started to take him down the mountain to catch demons and eliminate demons. He is planning to get Tao Rangxing's. After hearing the true story, he held Mission in the palm of his hand and married Huang Man'er again. In the plot Beihe accepted, Tao Beihe was infatuated with Mo Shaokai, but after he gradually became more powerful, he began to be impatient with her. Huang Man'er didn't know why, but she didn't like her, so she teamed up with Mo Shaokai. As for her, Tao Beihe was younger than the two of them. He was not sensible when he was young, but when he grew up, he developed a cowardly temperament. Later, in order to marry Huang Man'er, Mo Shaokai finally made an agreement with the monster when he and Tao Rangxing went out to catch monsters, and killed Tao Rangxing, and finally forced Ning to death. If it weren't for Ning, before he died, he tried his best to send his daughter out of Mission. I was afraid that Tao Lily would not be harmed by him. Later, Mo Shaokai married Huang Man'er, and Mission gradually changed the family name from Tao to Mo. Tao Lily finally died in pain and depression. Her whole life. What I regret most is that I didn't see clearly the true face of Mo Shaokai, the white-eyed wolf. The family property left by his parents was also given to this disgusting person. Among them, because of his infatuation with him, after his relationship was betrayed, Tao Lily became even more. It's extremely painful. She had sought out famous teachers in the second half of her life and wanted to take revenge on Mo Shaokai, but she almost failed and was silenced. When Lily came over now, it happened to be not long after Huang Man'er went up the mountain. When she was only 9 years old, Shaokai was just 14 years old. Nothing had happened yet and she had no time to do anything. She rubbed her forehead and then began to look at her location. Huang Monair deliberately tricked her into going to a hillside today and pushed her directly. After going down, she hit a rock and probably got a wound. The wound happened to be on her cheek, and because her face was disfigured, it later became Shaokai's excuse to dislike her. But after Huang Man'er got into trouble, she told Tao Rangxing that it was Tao Pepsi who was naughty. She tried to dissuade her again and again, but she was almost pushed down by Lily. In the end, she, the culprit, was not only fine, but Lily, the victim, was killed by Tao Rangxing. Xin was beaten, and he was even more disappointed with this daughter who did not like to learn the family's teaching skills. The original owner also became more introverted and cowardly because of this incident. Thinking of this, Lily couldn't help but sneered in her heart. Shaokai and Huang Man'er were no longer with her at this moment. They had probably made arrangements to find excuses for each other to get ahead of Tao Rangxing after seeing the trouble. Lily naturally couldn't let these two bully her this time. The mission sect should have been hers, but Shaokai finally snatched her away, not to mention that he even killed Tao Beihi's parents in order to gain power. Tao Beihi's biography. The most important thing in Last Wish is not only to expose the true identity of this couple and prevent them from achieving their goals, but also to let Shaokai go back to where he came from. More importantly, if there is a chance, he must pass on the Tao family lineage. Lily endured the pain on her face, got up and ran towards Tao Rangxing. She had experienced this once in the plot. She knew that Tao Rangxing was having dinner with Ning at this time. Because of Shaokai's complaint, Ning and Tao Rangxing and his wife also broke up on bad terms. This time she would not be as stupid as the original owner and let others bully her. Dad, Mom, Lily rushed into Ning's place. Ning was joking with Tao Rangxing. When she saw her daughter rushing in with blood on her face, she couldn't help but be frightened. You what's wrong? Because Tao Beihi refused to learn Tao Rangxing's family Taoism, and because she was just a daughter, Tao Rangxing was very disappointed in her. The relationship between the two fathers and daughters was not deep. When he heard his wife's question, he snorted coldly. What else can I do? I must have broken it when I went out to do some mischief. Dad. Lily curled her lips in grievance and cried, Sister Man'er pushed me and fell. Senior brother asked me to admit that I fell. As the head of a sect, Tao Rangxing was not as meticulous as Ning, but he could tell something was wrong at this moment. Ning frowned and asked sternly. Is your senior brother really trying to cover up Man'er and make you admit that you fell? Shaokai has been up the mountain for more than 2 years. For this diligent apprentice, Ning has always been a little happy for her husband, but now she instinctively felt that something was wrong. Some things that she had not thought about carefully before now came to mind, making Ning's expression look a little ugly. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 60. Lily looked confused and nodded lightly. Well, senior brother, it was always like this before, but my face was broken. Mom, will there be scars on my face in the future? Will it look like a big one? As the senior brother said, I have become an ugly monster and am no longer qualified to be the wife of his future leader. Everyone knew about the marriage between Tao Beihi and Shaokai after he came to the mountain. Although Tao Beihi was young, but Tao Rangxing was deeply afraid that his daughter would be unwilling in the future, so he had been indoctrinating her since childhood that she would be Shaokai's wife when she grew up. After Lily said this, Tao Rangxing's expression changed. Did he really say that? he still didn't believe it. After all, Mo Shaokai showed great affection for Tao Beihi on weekdays. This apprentice was quite ambitious. Tao Rangxing also saw it, but he didn't think he was ambitious before. What was wrong? After all, he wanted to hand over his Tao family lineage to Mo Shaokai. In the future, he would have the ambition to truly carry forward the Tao family. However, although Tao Rangxing had this plan at the moment, he heard that Mo Shaokai regarded the Tao family as his property, which made Tao Rangxing feel a little uncomfortable. He was planning to let Mo Shaokai marry into the Tao family, and the children his daughter would give birth to would also be named Tao. But now, listening to Lily's words, it seemed that Mo Shaokai regarded his Tao family as his. Tao Rangxing's face looked a little ugly. Is there any misunderstanding? Ning asked cautiously, and Lily pretended not to understand anything and shook her head. Elder brother said that I have become ugly and no longer worthy of being his wife. He said that he wanted to marry Sister Manor, and the children he would have in the future could also be named Mo, not Tao. Mother, what do you mean by this? She said at this moment she is only 9 years old, not to mention timid and introverted. Especially after Huang Manor arrived on the mountain, she seemed to feel inferior in front of this beautiful senior sister, and she spoke less. Ning didn't expect her daughter to lie, and her face turned pale for a moment. He dares, Tao Rangxing was so angry that his beard was shaking. He stood up and walked around the room for a few steps. Just as he was about to speak, Huang Manor's panicked voice came from outside, Master, Master. Hide first, Tao Rangxing ordered his daughter with a livid face. He still couldn't believe that the apprentice he had rescued could be such an ungrateful person, so he ordered his daughter. Seeing that she agreed, her thin body ran towards the inner room like a monkey, and the corners of her mouth could not help but reveal a smile comes. As soon as Lily hid, Huang Manor and Mo Shaokai rushed into the room. Because Tao Rangxing used to regard Mo Shaokai as his son-in-law and considered him a member of the family. Huang Manor was a distant relative of the Ning family, so she didn't regard her as an outsider. Naturally, she let them break into her house. But at this moment, Tao Rangxing had already created a barrier in his heart. Mo Shaokai and the others ran in, but they didn't. The announcement made Tao Rangxing feel a little unhappy all of a sudden, thinking that these two people were too unruly, if it were taken seriously. It's just that Mo Shaokai didn't take his master into consideration at all. Master, Ahe went out to do some mischief. I tried to persuade her a few times but didn't listen, and she got a big cut on her face. Mo Shaokai has always been favored by Tao Rangxing, so he thought that if he spoke first, Tao Rangxing would definitely believe it or not. Huang Manor next to her was still young after all. Although she tried to remain calm, her eyes still showed a bit of nervousness and guilt. Lily in the plot was too stupid, so when Tao Rangxing asked about the matter, she chose to acquiesce because she got Mo Shaokai's signal. As a result, Tao Rangxing was very disappointed with her, but now she complained in advance. Tao Rangxing had a knot in his heart, but seeing the guilty look on Huang Manor's face, although Mo Shaokai acted very calm, Tao Rangxing's heart felt cold. He couldn't tell that what his daughter was telling was the truth. He could tell just from Huang Manor's behavior. But what made him disappointed and frightened was that the apprentice he had rescued from a beggar was now targeting him. Not to mention the Tao family's things, he is ungrateful, and now it seems that he has hooked up with the little bitch named Huang. If he and his wife live together for 100 years in the future, won't Mo Shaokai take over the Tao family and his daughter will not end up with a good ending? What made Tao Rangxing even more angry was that Mo Shaokai had even deceived him. Now his lies seemed to be true, which showed how deep this man was. Ahe fell down by himself and broke his face. Tao Rangxing suppressed the resentment in his heart and asked calmly. Mo Shaokai nodded. Well, she fell down. I thought it was Manor pushed her down. He originally wanted to say a few more words, but Tao Rangxing no longer wanted to hear it. He now felt a bit murderous towards this apprentice, and moved his hand several times before speaking. He resisted not striking Mo Shaokai on the head. At this moment, he still wanted to hear what he said. He waved his hand and said, "Okay, since that's the case, don't say anything." Huang Manor showed a bit of dissatisfaction on her face. She glanced at Mo Shaokai and lowered her head to fiddle with her clothes. Mo Shaokai frowned and asked strangely, "Is it possible that master will not punish Ahi?" Tao Rangxing had eaten more salt than Mo Shaokai had eaten rice. Mo Shaokai's ambition could not be seen at this moment. He felt even more certain about this apprentice and son-in-law whom he had been very fond of in the past. A bit resentful, he sneered when he heard this. "My daughter was injured, and Huang Manor was not injured. What do you want me to do?" His own daughter Lily fell and had a gash like that. Mo Shaokai, the son-in-law who used to show great affection for Lily in front of him, unexpectedly Tao Rangxing resented having to stand up for other women. Although he valued Mo Shaokai as his apprentice, he first valued him because he was his future son-in-law, and he only valued him for Tao Beihi's sake. Mo Shaokai's qualifications were not very good, but it was because he worked hard and treated his daughter well. Tao Rangxing chose him in the first place. Now that he saw him applying eye drops to his daughter in front of him, Tao Rangxing's eyes flashed. A bit murderous. "Shaokai, don't forget who is your future wife, after all, he is the apprentice he has worked hard for." Tao Rangxing also wants to give him another chance. After all, it is not necessary to choose another apprentice with good character. It can be done in 3 or 2 days. If Mo Shaokai can still be saved, Tao Rangxing doesn't mind giving him another chance. He just hopes that he will not forget his mission. Mo Shaokai was being taught a lesson by Tao Rangxing in front of Huang Manor, and felt very uncomfortable. He had lived a good life in the past 2 years, and Tao Rangxing attached great importance to him, which made him feel a little proud. If Tao Rangxing had been, he treats him badly and scolds him frequently. I'm afraid he doesn't feel so uncomfortable when he is scolded now. But just because he lives a good life on weekdays, he will feel resentful when he is scolded now. His face twists and he says coldly, "Master taught me that." This sentence originally made Tao Ran, who wanted to give him a chance, laugh angrily and nodded, "Okay, okay, you are indeed my good disciple. I know this, you can go out." Huang Manor was still young. Except that she could feel that Tao Rangxing was a little unhappy, she didn't think of anything. She just waved to Ning happily, "Cousin, I heard Ahe say 2 days ago that she wanted to eat chicken legs. Although Tao's family on Mission Mountain can't help but eat meat and fish, Tao Rangxing practices Taoism on weekdays. Naturally, the more forbidden some things are, the better. Eating too much grains and meat will produce more impurities in the body. Life on the mountain naturally, they are not as particular as the Huang family, and it is even less likely that the Huang family regards Huang Manor as a treasure in their eyes. Huang Manor has long been unable to bear it, but it is not easy to go down the mountain. If she wants to eat something good on weekdays, she is young and dare not. I went to find Mr. Ning and ask for it myself, so I had to ask for it in Lily's name. Because of this, Tao Rangxing always thought that her daughter would be fine if she didn't make progress. In the past, she had many demands, and she was even more displeased with her daughter. Ning was not stupid. She had doubts in her heart now, and she didn't love Huang Manor as much as before. She was just a relative of the Huang family. Although she liked Huang Manor as smart and sensible in the past, she couldn't get along with her own daughter. In comparison, no matter how bad her daughter is, she still wants to be kissed more than Huang Manor. Her eyes turned cold. I'll go back and ask Lily if she wants to eat. In the past, Huang Manor would always agree to whatever Ning said, never doubting whether it was true or not. Now, Ning felt a knot in her heart. When she said this, Huang Manor's face immediately changed, and her expression became a little panicked. Ning couldn't figure it out, and was even more furious in his heart. Cousin, he is thin-skinned. If you ask, she is too embarrassed to say more. What she told me is true, Huang Manor emphasized again. Ning couldn't help but feel even more disgusted. She didn't expect that Huang Manor had relying on the fact that they were related to her. Her family sent her to the mountains because her daughter was very weak. They asked her to raise her daughter for her and teach her some kung fu to keep herself healthy. Unexpectedly, she had such good intentions. It actually attracted a white-eyed wolf back. Fortunately, my daughter stupidly revealed the matter today, otherwise Huang Man'er would have to bear the burden, and Tao Bei would have been bullied by her in the future. Thinking of his good daughter, although she was introverted in the past, she was not as timid as she is now. I didn't expect that Mo Shaokai was not a good person either. Fortunately, I found out early, otherwise I would not know about this pair of wolf-hearted little girls. What kind of things would a bitch do? Okay, don't talk anymore. You two can go out first. Chao Rangxing's face was ashen and he waved impatiently at Mo Shaokai. Mo Shaokai suffered a lot when he was young, and he had a tendency to like and dislike others. Naturally sensitive, he hesitated for a moment and nodded. He wanted to explore Chao Rangxing's tone of voice, but he had just been scolded by Chao Rangxing, and his pride couldn't stand it, so he hesitated, and sure enough he pulled. He took Huang Man'er's hand and turned away. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 61. In the past, Chao Rangxing and his wife didn't think much about it. Naturally, they felt that Mo Shaokai held Huang Man'er's hand just because he had a gentle personality and could take care of the weak. Now that he had doubts in his heart, he saw something else. Chao Rangxing and others left, signaling Mrs. Ning closed the door and then called her daughter out. I didn't expect that. My surname is Tao, who has been fighting demons and demons all his life. I didn't expect that he would lose his sight when he got old. Ning was also very angry. While wiping her daughter's face with a handkerchief, she asked, "Ahi, how does your senior brother treat you on weekdays? Do you like to eat chicken drumsticks?" After all, Huang Man'er brought her up the mountain by herself. Ning didn't want to think of a child in such a bad way. Lily told Mo Shaokai's true face unceremoniously. She had lived for who knows how many years. Although her IQ was not necessarily that high, Gao, but she was very patient. She organized what she wanted to say several times and made sure there were no problems before speaking out. Naturally, Chao Rangxing staggered with anger, and she had no doubts about Mo Shaokai's arrogance. "Mom, I don't like chicken legs." After Lily said this, she seemed to have let slip her words, and covered her lips with a frightened look. Seeing her like this, Ning naturally suspected, "What's wrong?" Bei pretended that she couldn't stand the question, and then said sternly, "Sister Man'er said that if I let the truth slip, she would ask senior brother to beat me to death." Absurd. Chao Rangxing stretched out his hand and slapped the table fiercely, his beard shaking with anger. Lily also pretended to be frightened. "Dad, is learning Taoism very prestigious? The senior brother said that he will become the head of the family, said that I am now disfigured and not worthy of him. He wants to marry someone as beautiful as Sister Man'er, and he wants to carry forward the Mo family." At this moment, Chao Rangxing was not dead yet, but Mo Shaokai was already thinking about the Tao family's property. Chao Rangxing's chest was heaving. Just as he was about to speak, Lily timidly said, "Dad, I also want to be the leader. Sister Man'er is also learning Taoism and is very good at it. I want to learn it too." Chao Rangxing only thought that her daughter was bullying her because she thought others were good, and he felt a little uncomfortable. He never thought about what she meant by saying this, but no matter what he said before, if Lily refused to come down and learn Taoism, Now she actually took the initiative to say that she wanted to learn, even though this Dharma girl didn't do much. However, Tao Rangxing was a little happy when his daughter said this, as he only had such a one-man story. If Lily really wants to learn, she is her own bloodline. It is better to pass the Tao family to her than to pass it on to a white-eyed wolf like Mo Shaokai. It is better to let her ruin it than to change the Tao family's surname to Mo. Tao Rangxing was furious when he thought that he had misjudged the past 2 years. Without thinking, he nodded, but you have to think about it carefully. Since you want to learn the Taoist skills passed down by my Tao family ancestors first, you are not allowed to complain about hardship or tiredness in the future. You must carry forward the Tao family. Lily didn't expect that the matter would be solved so easily, so she couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and secretly felt happy in her heart. Naturally, he nodded in agreement. After she learned the 9 Yang Manual and the 9 Yin Manual, she already had these 2 martial arts secrets in her attribute value and skills column, so she had so many skills that she was not overwhelmed. The more things she knows, the easier her future tasks will be. Even if something happens again, she won't be so weak that she can be exploited by others. She can't wait to talk about more things, and she won't find it boring to learn something. No matter how depressed she was, it couldn't be compared to when she was studying the 9 Yang Manual by herself. Thinking of this, Lily naturally nodded. Don't worry, Dad, although I'm not as smart as my senior brother, I will definitely listen to Dad. Tao Rangxing was naturally happy. It was rare for him to have a good look towards his daughter, but he carefully dealt with her daughter's sadness. To learn Taoism, you must first have a strong body. Fortunately, Lily has thoroughly explored the martial arts in the 9 Yang Manual and the 9 Yin Manual. Although she restarted the mission due to attribute restrictions, she was in the period of extinction. The skills she had practiced did not come with her, but she still firmly remembered the secrets of the 2 martial arts, so she started to practice the 2 scriptures again. Because of her experience, she practiced very quickly, and it was also correct. Because of this, she may not be smart when learning Taoism due to her internal strength, but she is very hardworking and has tenacity. Whenever she encounters something she doesn't understand, she will always try again and again. Practice. If you don't understand anything, you will ask Tao Rangxing until you understand. Tao Rangxing was naturally secretly happy that his daughter suddenly seemed like a different person, focusing entirely on Taoism. Seeing that she was making rapid progress and could draw a weak magic talisman, Tao Rangxing was secretly happy. Shaokai put aside his teachings and focused entirely on his daughter. Huang Man'er was naturally very dissatisfied with Lily's change. She had also come to see Lily a few times. It was probably because Lily seemed to be stimulated to learn Taoism, and she quickly seemed to learn it better than her. She was unwilling to give up and wanted to trouble Lily. When a girl becomes jealous, especially at her age, she sometimes does very childish things. But Tao Rangxing now regards his daughter as the future heir of the Tao family, so it is naturally impossible. She let her spoil her own affairs, so she asked Ning to discipline Huang Man'er very strictly. He also hated her for being ungrateful, so he stopped teaching her Taoism. Instead, he asked Ning to teach her embroidery and cooking all day long, taking up all of Huang Man'er's time. Stay here so that she doesn't have time to trouble Lily again. When Mo Shaokai saw that Tao Rangxing attached great importance to Lily, he was unwilling to accept it, but he had only learned Taoism for 2 years. All Tao Rangxing asked him to do before was to lay the foundation, so he had just touched Taoism. It was just a superficial thing, not like it was when Tao Rangxing put all his efforts into him. He had just learned the 3-legged cat kung fu. Although he was very dissatisfied with Tao Rangxing's transformation, he did not dare to act rashly at all. In this way, 7 years have passed by in the blink of an eye, and Lily has laid a very solid foundation. The various spells she drew are extremely powerful, and because she has practiced the 9 Yang Manual, Tao Rangxing is very good in Kung Fu regardless of Taoism. He may not be her opponent. Because of her good martial arts skills and strong internal strength, she was able to draw talismans with half the effort. Tao Rangxing had already begun to try to teach her some spells such as the 5 Thunder Curse and spreading beans to create an army. She tried it a few times, but she didn't know if it was right. Because of her diligence, or because she has extremely strong internal energy and strong blood essence, her success rate is extremely high, and even Tao Rangxing is secretly horrified by the 5 Thunder Curses she sometimes casts. Lily has been very diligent in the past few years, spending all day and night focusing on practicing Taoism. By the time she was 20 years old, her Taoism was not only inferior to Tao Rangxing, but actually better than Tao Rangxing. Tao Rangxing felt happy and relieved at the same time. When Lily passed the 21st, he was going to take her down the mountain for a test in person. Coincidentally, at this time, just after the beginning of spring and Lily's birthday in February, a wealthy family named Lu in Baiwan town at the foot of the mountain sent a butler to invite Tao Ran. Xin went down the mountain to help suppress the demon. The family surnamed Lu offered a sky-high price of 50 taels of silver. Although Tao Rangxing was not the most famous person in Mission at this time, because the Tao family had been passed down for generations, they were quite famous. If not some people, even if it's a serious matter, I'm happy to ask him for help. 50 taels of silver seems a lot to ordinary people, but if some people want to ask a genuine heavenly master with powerful magic to help, they won't move without hundreds of taels of silver. The most famous ones on Mission, headed by the Genji sect, are all titled celestial masters granted by the imperial court, and they simply don't mind mundane affairs. Others looked down upon the 50 taels of silver, but Tao Rangxing was heartbroken. The Tao family was actually just a very small sect on Mission. Adding his family and Mo Shaokai and Huang Monair to the sect, there were only 5 members in total. This shows that he has few connections. He has devoted himself to teaching his daughter in the mountains these years, and has never gone out to interact with people. As the saying goes, sitting and eating will cost you nothing, not to mention that it costs a lot to buy talismans, paper, cinnabar, etc. 52 pieces of silver is already very high. If he can get it, at least he can teach his daughter for another 10 years. After 10 years, Lily will definitely be able to dominate. Tao Rangxing dares to guarantee that with his daughter's unique talent in Taoism, in the future, he will never be any worse than an upright master of Mission University. As long as his daughter is trained, the Tao family will be able to flourish. Thinking of this, Tao Rangxing naturally took up the matter without hesitation. When he was greeting Ms Ning to pack her daughter's clothes in the evening, Mo Shaokai followed Huang Manor in. He said with a gloomy face when he entered. Master is so partial and only takes Lily down the mountain. We also want to follow him down the mountain to broaden our horizons. Mo Shaokai originally thought that after learning Taoism, he would become an immortal and control the wind and rain in the mortal world, but in the end things turned out to be completely different from what he imagined. The old man Tao Rangxing alienated him for some reason. Instead, he began to teach his daughter. Mo Shaokai also thought about learning Taoism secretly, but Tao Rangxing was very guarded against him. He had never caught a chance in these years. It was not that he had never thought about it. He started with Lily, but that dead girl didn't know what Tao Rangxing had instilled in her, and she was no longer close to him. He tried all his methods, and Lily was even unwilling to meet him alone in the end. Mo Shaokai watched these 2 years. Lily was becoming more and more powerful, able to draw talismans in the void, and even use blood to suppress evil spirits. He was as anxious as a cat scratching his head, but he couldn't do anything about it. Tao Rangxing was talking to his daughter with a happy face and told her some tips on how to calm down when seeing monsters. Lily has learned a lot over the years, but this is the first real experiment. Tao Rangxing now regards her daughter as a with treasure in his eyes, he was deeply afraid that she would be frightened by seeing monsters and ghosts for the first time. He was taking the trouble to comfort her, but unexpectedly, Amo Shaokai and two people broke in, and his expression turned ugly at that moment. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation.